here on RSBN. Let's go to Tim Golding in Michigan. Thanks so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Definitely great to have you back. Americans for Prosperity, Michigan State Director Tim Golding. And, you know, we see El-Sayed up there in Michigan, man. And, man, I'm sorry that you have to deal with someone like that.
It's crazy town. It certainly is. To hear some of his rhetoric now, and even when he ran for different offices in the past, it's quite unsettling, honestly. And I think some of the things like that came out in that Jesse Waters interview have really turned people's attention to this race and to his candidacy and who he is and how he wants to lead and what he wants to do with our country. And none of it is any good. None of it's things that align with conservative values or principles that are limited government in nature and want less government and more freedoms for families. He's totally the opposite.
Exactly. And you know what? The thing that's interesting, Tim, is they're actually bold about things like socialism, communism, Sharia law. They're bold about it, saying this is what we want to install in this country. They probably love mass control and all of the awful things that we, the people, just don't like at all, do we?
Exactly. They want more government. They want cradle to grave, the government to take you from one to the other. They want you to have no say in what goes on. He was talking about Medicare for all and how originally he wasn't going to raise your taxes, but he came out last week and said, oh, by the way, it is going to raise your taxes. And people need to understand that when the government runs your health care, you're not going to have a choice of what doctor you want to see. You're not going to have a choice of when you get a procedure done or what hospital you want to visit or what clinic you want to go to. They're going to decide all that for you. And that's exactly what the socialists want. And, I've used the analogy that I'll believe capitalism doesn't work and that it's evil when I see boatloads of people heading to Cuba on a raft, right, from America. It never goes the opposite way. People come here because of the richness and the greatness and the everything that's made this country wonderful. They don't want more government control when they get here. They want freedom and opportunity, and that's what we provide for them.
I can guarantee your family and my family, we're not trying to get out of this country, are we?
Not on your life, never.
Exactly. I mean, this is because we love America. We love the freedom. We love we the people. We love the Constitution. And we want to continue that to for the next 250 years. How important is some of the basics that we talk about here at the network, but to still repeat it and talk about it because we know the leftists, they hate that stuff.
They hate America. They don't love it like you and I do. And it's incumbent on us as conservatives on the right side of the issues, on the proper side of the issues too, to keep talking about these things, to educate our friends and our families and our coworkers and talk to them plainly and say, hey, show me a country anywhere in the world that's been successful under communism or socialism. You can't point to one. And they're going to say, well, they just didn't try it the right way. Well, that's not accurate. And make no mistake, the Democrat Socialists of America, El-Sayed and the others that are aligned with him, that's what they want. They want socialism. They want the government to run everything for you. They want rent control. They want government housing. They want to seize property. They want government-run stores like they're going to do in New York. So if you're going to automatically cut the price with, by the way, taxpayer money and give a 30% discount on everything that's sold in those government-run stores, that's just going to make the mom and pop shop down the street unaffordable, and he won't be able to stay in business. They're going to lose their job. Socialism is never any good, and when you run out of everybody else's money, it fails every time.
Exactly. And I think the main thing we can do as Americans outside of praying and working hard is 4 words: get out and vote, right?
Amen. Amen. Spot on. That's what we work every day to get people plugged back in, to have a seat at the table. It's our government that we're supposed to be in control of, and we've neglected it for far too long as conservatives. It's time we get back in the fight, and we work every day at Americans for Prosperity to get people plugged back into that fight.
Tim, if there are 15 others that are just like you, male or female, out there that you know in this country, this is usually something we might do offline and talk about it, but I want to just say it to you live here. Have them reach out to the network. We love to have people that are on the right side of history, talking election integrity, talking Constitution, talking the basics, because that's what is the bread and butter of the United States of America. Americans for Prosperity, Michigan State Director Tim Golding, thank you again for your friendship to the network and what you're doing for the country.
Looking forward to being back in soon.
Thank you, Tim. Good
Thank
stuff
you.
there with Tim Golding.